Hey everybody, and have you tried out any of these filament subscription? Hey everybody, have you ever tried out one of these filament subscription boxes where they send you a whole bunch of filament in a box? You never know what you're gonna get. It's all exciting and everything. Are they really a great deal, or are they just a big box of crap on your doorstep? It's a little bit of thrill, a little bit, you know what, I should read my script before I start. However, you can find, let's back it up, try again. Under voltage detected. A number of subscription box filament. Oh boy, where am I on the script? There we go. If you think it's sounding hard from this side, try editing the video afterwards. My goodness, I hate editing my own videos.
For behind-the-scenes information, step-by-step instructions of the builds featured, and much more, visit 3dpprofessor.com.
Subscription services, right? I mean, they seem like a pretty fun idea. You pay a monthly fee, and you get a box full of stuff that you may or may not actually want. It's a little bit of the thrill of exploration and discovery without leaving your comfy chair. There are subscription boxes for just about everything out there, including 3D printing filament. And there's a number of 3D printing filament subscription boxes that you can go through. Now, I'm trying out the Mondo Box from my friends at 3D Printing Gear, and I want to run through what they sent. This is one of their older boxes, but I think it'll give you a general idea. Most of the boxes that I've tried are pretty much the same sort of mix, so you'll get a good idea from this what you could expect in future boxes from people like this. And I do have some thoughts on my own about those, but I'll tell you that after we get a chance to take a look at these filaments here.
The 3D Printing Professor is supported by you. Viewers like you can support videos like this directly on PayPal and Patreon and make the projects and builds you see possible. To support, find the links wherever links are found.
So the first sample that caught my eye was this buzzed PLA from 3D Fuel. And one thing I like about the 3D Printing Gear people is they will print out one of their maker coins for you in the filament, and they'll put it in there with their little sample of filament. And I will say that I printed enough with this filament, and I've still got a little bit left over. Their samples are generous, and that's good because you want to be able to at least do a little bit of something with the sample. The first thing I always print is my filament print test model that I created to test the filament. It's got an area that needs to be supported so I can see how supports look and how easily they peel off. Different filaments are different with supports. Also, you print this with 0% infill so that these wide flat areas will give you an idea of how well you can bridge across areas like that. And, you know, a couple, 3 layers, it ended up looking pretty good. And then it's got this area here with an intentional gap between so that if you will get any stringing, you'll be able to catch that. And obviously for Buzz PLA, you either need to print each of your models separately, which is what I did, or you need to play with your retraction settings to try and get that stringing down to a minimum, because that is super stringy. Yeah. Once I had my settings dialed in, I printed the stone chess set that I downloaded off of Mesh Mixer Autodesk 123D, which is a website that used to have a ton of great models, and I downloaded them and kept them, and it's now gone, so you might not be able to get this chess set anymore, but that's where I got it. It's called the Stone Chess Set. I think it was scanned, although honestly it looks like a really good scan, so I don't know what the history is of this model, but it's a chess set. I like to print chess sets with my sample filaments because I like to collect chess sets printed in exotic chess sets, printed in exotic materials. And this one turned out pretty okay. I like the way this brown, so the Buzz PLA is made with the byproducts of the beer manufacturing process. But regardless of that, basically what you get is just a kind of beautifully speckled brown. It's a really cute. It does have a slight hoppy odor while it's printing, but besides that, it's just a nice, pretty, very earthy, speckled color. And yeah, overall, buzzed PLA, I kind of enjoyed printing with it. Now, I did take the opportunity to print a couple of supporter tiles. So David J. Hoida and Dom, thank you guys very much for your support. And we've got some more supporter tiles coming as we look at the next roll of filament that we got. The next roll of filament that we have is Emerald Pearl PLA from Toner Plastics. And this is an absolutely gorgeous pearlescent PLA. I've seen filaments like this where they say that it hides the layer lines, and it really is true. This makes a look that is just undeniably gorgeous. However, I discovered very quickly that there's something with this filament. It does not like high heats very well, and oh boy, it was just frustrating. The chess set that I printed with this filament, or rather attempted to print with this filament, was the VR chess set by Devin from Make Anything. He sculpted this in VR, and there's a great video of it that you can watch of the whole process. Unfortunately, the prints never got past the 50% mark. They all fell over and tipped, and something happened. And I'm not quite sure if that's the fault of the filament or if the model was just a very difficult model to print, or maybe a combination of both. It seems to me like maybe that this particular Emerald Pearl PLA filament is a little bit delicate, and so I should have chosen a more sturdy chess set to print with it. Still, it's a beautiful color, and it's a beautiful filament, and I kind of still want to play with it a little bit more and want to see what else I can do with it, because the prints that are coming off of it, oh, so good. Now, I did print a couple of supporter tiles as well. I've got Katya, I apologize, Hanau, I never know how to pronounce umlauts, and Ginny Newman. This is the same, dog blasted, I printed this one twice. So that was the cool and interesting filaments that immediately caught my eye and got me thinking, and I really wanted to try them out. But the other three rolls that we got, well, we've got some natural recycled PETG from our friends at 3D Fuel, and I mean, it's basically just water bottles that have been recycled or something. It's PETG, made from recycled materials. I've done this before, and it's not a pretty color. It doesn't really do much. It's just kind of a natural, transparent, milky white-ish PETG. But hey, it's made out of recycled materials, and it might be something that, if you've never printed with PETG, or if you wanted to try it out, or you wanted to try out recycled filament, yeah, I could see you being a little bit excited about this. And the test print definitely demonstrates, where it goes to the high tower, that you want to have lots of fan, lots of cooling, don't print it too hot. But it had some really nasty cracking in it, which says to me that there's not good layer bonding going on in certain areas. And I never did quite figure out how to get those fixed, which if I had, maybe the chess set that I printed would have looked better. It doesn't look bad. It's another VR chess set designed by Luis Valdez. And yes, it's a good looking chess set, but the print, it's so kind of stringy and muddy, and I'm not really sure it's doing this set justice. Red ABS. And if you've never printed with ABS, maybe seeing a little spool of ABS in a sample pack like this might get you excited to try out a material that you've never tried before, or maybe discover why we don't like ABS anymore. But it's just red ABS. I've got tons of ABS. Well, less than I used to, because I don't want any more ABS. I was not excited to get this roll of ABS. Nevertheless, I decided it was time to update my triangle chess set, and maybe I'd print it in ABS, and maybe I would test out a 3D printer that I'm super excited to tell you about and see how it handles ABS. And the answer is, it handles ABS okay, but there's a lot of problems on the overhang. It's not super bad. Actually, it's pretty good, and maybe if I try putting this through some acetone smoothing, it might turn out acceptable. I may give it a shot. Nevertheless, it's red ABS. It's one of the most common filaments out there, and forgive me for having a hard time getting excited about a spool of red ABS in this sample pack. And lastly, it's a coil of black PLA. Black PLA, Dazzle Light Black PLA, which promises super duper PLA that will make you, it's PLA, it's a roll of black PLA. I could not be less excited about this. I can't see anybody getting this and going, oh man, I'm glad they put a roll of black PLA in here. Woohoo, give me that black PLA. Now this does, because I was so disinterested in it, obviously, you can see how much of a spool you get because the rest of them I printed stuff with them. And it's enough. It's enough that you could definitely print half a chess set. You could probably print a dozen low poly dinos with this one, huh? But yeah, it's just black PLA. So there you go. A little bit of good stuff, some kind of okay, and then just filler that you might not even be able to use some of it, and you might not even be excited by others of it. It's like a little bit of good and some fluff. And that's pretty much been my experience with these boxes. You know, I do enjoy the experience of opening these boxes, not knowing what's inside and just wanting to find out. But going through these samples, for me, taking the time to print them and the effort to sit down and change filament and decide what I'm going to print, it's a lot of work, and 5 coils a month is just, it's just too much. It's okay. It's nice to have something new to play with, but if I had 5 spools, 5 sample coils coming every month, look, I've got sample filament, okay? I've got lots of sample filament that I haven't even touched yet, that I'm afraid that would just grow as these boxes came in, and I tried a couple of the good stuff and just kind of held on to the rest of them. I honestly feel like it would get in the way of what I wanted to do, you know what I mean? You know, the thing is, if I were doing one of these sample boxes, it would not be 1 sample box per month. It would be 1 sample per month, and no plain colors or boring filaments. I'm talking just the good stuff, the stuff that you'd be interested in trying out, the stuff that you'd like, that you'd be like, oh, you know that you look at these filaments that come out and you go, man, that looks cool, I'd love to try it, but I've still got 3 rolls of cool stuff that I haven't even gotten halfway through. So you don't want to buy a whole spool of it. I would go through and get those, and I would send those out to people and say, hey, let's all, let's break up these rolls so that we can all try it out. And then, next month you've got something else cool. And that's 1 month is enough time that I wouldn't feel like I was imposing on anybody, or I wouldn't feel imposed upon to try out 1 sample roll per month. And it would be kind of like, it would be basically, instead of a box for a month, it would just be the filament of the month. The more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm talking about this, the more I kind of want to do it. What do you think? Would you subscribe to a Filament of the Month club if it promised fun filaments every single month, nothing boring, and how much would you pay for a sample like that? Because a lot of times the reason why they pad these boxes out is because the good stuff is expensive, but they can fill it out by getting some really cheap stuff in there, and you think, well, I'm getting 5 rolls. Well, you're not really. You're really only getting 1 or 2 rolls of stuff that you like. I'm saying cut that out. Let's just go straight to the good stuff, and let's not, I don't know. What do you think would be fair for that? Leave your answers in the comment section below, because I love to hear from you guys. And you know what? I think I'm going to leave it there, but I'm really considering this idea. As always, thank you very much for watching. Big thanks to my direct supporters who I'm excited to get their tiles up there. You know what, Ginny, I think you're just gonna have like so many tiles up on the board. It's just the way it's gonna be. Oh, have you seen the new 3dpprofessor.com? I've redesigned the whole website. It's all new. You should go check it out. And also remember that I am social. There are links, wherever links are found, that you can get in touch with me on Twitter and Facebook and on my Discord. So I look forward to hearing from you because I really like it when people say hi. But until next time, remember, safety first. I'll see you then.